Have I seen some of you in here before in the last couple of weeks? Yes, I have recognise faces. Some of you know who I am. Work for Scottish Institute of Enterprise. And what we want to just have a quick session, we're kind of running out of time here, on what makes a good idea, a good business idea. Okay, so basically my role with SIE is I sit every day with students and graduates and I kind of scope out their ideas. So some of the speakers today was actually Consul was in the other room today. I worked with him right at the beginning. He was actually a student at UWS in Paisley, and he came to me with an idea, and we actually sat 45 minutes scoping that idea out, and then he said to me, actually Liz, I've actually got this other idea as well, and it's the other idea that we've actually decided to work on and is now his business. So it's always worthwhile kind of talking it through with somebody and trying to work out whether not just is it a good idea, but is there a business in it as well before you start, okay? So, I'm just going to run this mouse around. Okay. So when I sit down with people, what I always start off with is kind of 4 questions that I ask them. 4 R's. So these are, what's the real problem? Is there actually a problem that needs solved? What's the revenue? How are we going to make money out of it? What's the route to market? How are we going to actually tell people about it, and can we tell people about it? Will they be interested? And what's the risks? So who are the competition, etc. in the marketplace? Is the competition too high? Things around intellectual property, etc. All these kind of things we're going to talk through. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example to start off with, which is a cup of wine. And actually, this is a product that was on Dragon's Den, that somebody, the inventor, whose name is Nash, took to the Dragon's Den and tried to get investment for it. So essentially, it's red or white wine in a 225ml plastic glass. Okay? So, I'm going to look first of all and see, is there a real problem? Problem's only actually real if a customer feels an urgency to solve it, if there's an easy solution to that problem. If it's a really complicated solution, then perhaps it's not the right fit here for a business. And most importantly, the customer is willing and has enough money to pay for it. Okay? So in the case of this cup of wine, basically the problem is if somebody's out and about, that perhaps they're a commuter or something, they feel like a glass of wine at the end of the day, what are their options? They would, before this came along, have to buy a full bottle of wine. Probably not a good idea, it would cost more than they want to spend, etc. It's glass, they possibly wouldn't have a corkscrew if there was a cork in it rather than a screw top. They'd also need a glass, so there's the problem, okay? The other problem is they could even buy a little screw top bottle, which are readily available, but then there's too much wine in that, and they might be tempted if they're commuting or something, at the end when they get off the train and get into their car, they might be tempted to drink too much. So this is the problem this is solving. This little plastic cup is actually meaning that somebody can have a glass of wine, it's within drink drive limits, and they don't need a corkscrew or another glass, etc. Have it. Okay, so how's it going to make money? Who's going to buy it first of all? Who do you think? Anybody? Who would buy this apart from the commuters we've mentioned? Who else would buy this cup of wine?
You want to event, a gang or a biggie or something.
Yeah, so an open air kind of event or something like that. Yeah? Festival, yeah. Anybody else? Any other thoughts? Who else would buy this? Yeah?
Something for a picnic or what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so they just want to take two along, it's readily available, they don't have to bother with the bottle and things. It's quite light, I think, as well, because of that. Any other thoughts from customers?
Maybe go and transport like trains and things like that.
Yeah, trains, maybe planes, etc. as well. Okay. So how much do you think you'd be willing to pay for this? Thoughts? What do you think this would cost you? How much would you pay for it? Yeah? $2.50? Yeah? Anybody else? $3.99? Yeah? So that kind of, what's that? I can't hear you, sorry. Yeah? Yeah? How much? Around £1, do you think you'd get for that? That would be a really good deal, wouldn't it, actually? Okay, guys, listen up. So, this is the important bit, okay? This is how they make money. This is why this is a good idea. Basically, the price of that in the shops is £2.25, right? So that is actually a quarter bottle of wine. Now the same bottle of wine would sell for £5.49. Okay, so as far as the retailers are concerned, they sell one bottle of wine for £5.49. They can sell 4 of these cups and get £9. So it's a no-brainer, it's a good business idea. They're going to make more money. Probably their costs are potentially less as well, so it kind of proves the point. So that's the margin. What about any other revenue streams? Do you think perhaps we could extend this business, get more out of it? I think other products we could sell with this. Any thoughts?
Cheese.
Cheese? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's sell more cheese, biscuits and cheese add-ons, yeah?
I don't know if that's a part of it, but is it like gin and tonic in a can now?
Yeah?
Is that part of the same treatment?
So, what do you mean? So,
Like, the idea of having like a portable drink to have a gin and tonic or a Jack and Coke in a can.
so you can sit beside it as well. Yeah, absolutely. There's a place to sell it. What about other revenue streams that you could actually get apart from add-ons? What about any other revenue streams? Looking at the fact that you've got this glass, you've got a paper lid. Any other thoughts on how else you could make money?
I don't know.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah, absolutely. You've got a nice lid here that potentially, as well as selling it, you could use that to promote somebody else and actually get another company buying into you. So there's kind of quite a few. So it looks like on the surface this is quite a good business idea. We can see where the money comes from with it. Okay. So what about route to market? How are we going to sell this? Now, in the case of this cup of wine, it was actually quite easy because the company that owned this actually just went straight to Marks and Spencer's, who have a lot of outlets and train stations, etc. So they went direct to their market, so they identified people that could sell to their customers. And so it cut out a lot of the issues concerning getting to market, that with manufacture, marketing and distribution, so they got somebody else to do it. I was actually, when I was through the other side there, somebody said to me they've seen it being sold at Murrayfield now as well, so they're clearly, once they've got the initial distribution, it's now selling elsewhere as well. So when you're thinking about a business idea, don't just think about, does it make money? Don't just think, have we got customers? Think, okay, if I've got all that in place, how am I actually physically going to sell it? And this is the bit that a lot of people fall down on, because they forget that they need either somebody else to collaborate with to actually get things to market, or they forget that they need resources, often cash, to actually start marketing their product. And you need to build that in when you're kind of looking at taking something. Okay, so that's 3 of the R's. And then the risk is the final one. So you've got real problems for this, that we're actually solving something. We've got paying customers. And the first risk is always your competition. Is anybody else in the marketplace doing this? Now, I think I'm right in saying that in this case there wasn't anybody, but, sorry, no, I think sorry. But if I was them, I'd certainly be looking to protect that so that nobody else could copy me. And that's where things like your intellectual property come in. And if you are thinking of doing something where that's concerned, with SIE we actually we work with patent attorneys who can give advice on patents, on copyright, etc. So if any of you need some support there, just kind of come and ask me about it. The other bit we could look at here is the market trends. So in the case of this, the fact that there's more and more outdoor festivals, I would say, great. You know, there's a growing market. We haven't just got the market we've got, but there's more of this kind of thing happening. So, good idea. I can't remember whether I told some of you before that been in the class before. I had a DIY store before, and that was how I came into business. And I saw a gap in the market. At the time, there was lots of supermarkets were suddenly downscaling, and they were going to do the mini markets on the high street. And I thought there was a real gap there for DIY to do the same thing. And I actually had an average size store, which I felt could be condensed. I knew my product, I knew what was required, I knew my customers, and I started looking for investors. Had everything in place, I'd set up the brand, etc. Done all my market research, and the DIY industry was supposed to have 8% year-on-year growth, etc. And all was happy and well. And suddenly, the market turned, and suddenly B&Q, Homebase, everybody was closing stores. All of a sudden, just DIY just didn't. People, I don't know, maybe they had enough money at that point, and they thought, we can't be bothered doing it ourselves anymore. We'll get decorators in or whoever to do it, and the whole market changed. And suddenly I had to put everything on hold. It was too high a risk. So I would kind of encourage you to kind of be aware of what's happening in the marketplace. You might be at the end of that top of the wave, you know, and it might just be too late. And if that's the case, stop, come back, and you'll come up with another idea. Okay, so that's really important. Finally, final risk, and this is more for if you're looking to go and see an investor, is that they will want to know that you have the right team around you. Now, most of us are not multi-skilled. There will be gaps in our skills and knowledge, and so it's really important that you're coming up with an idea to make it a good business idea, that you bring everybody on to fill all those gaps that you need. And they might not even be part of the business, but you certainly need them as advisors. So that's really important. So I've rattled through that because of the timing. And now we're going to do something it's a little bit of fun, so please bear with me, okay? I'm going to give you 3 products. I want you to get into groups which probably, I don't know, groups of probably 5 would probably work, roughly. And I'll come around and give you these 3 products I'll show you in a second that we're going to work. And I want you to assess the products on these 4 R's, and then we'll go around. Just say, bear with me, they're quite silly, quirky products. But what I want you to take away from today is actually I really want you to know the process. Okay, we're using simple products, but obviously perhaps the businesses you're looking at doing a bit more complicated, but it's about learning the process of how we see whether it's a good business idea. Okay? So, we've got the Trunky, first of all, which Trunky was created to beat the boredom so often suffered by travelling tots, and it's designed to be used as hand luggage for kids. They can pack their Trunky with all their favourite toys and then ride off whilst their parents keep them in tow. That's one of them. Banana Guard is the other one. I said these were quirky, okay? Their selling thing is, are you fed up bringing bananas to work or school only to find them bruised and squashed? Banana Guard allows you to safely transport and storage individual bananas, letting you enjoy perfect bananas anytime, anywhere. So we're going to be thinking about whether that's a good business idea. And lastly, we've got the Cup and Cookies mug, which is a smart cup which you can put 2 or 3 of your favourite cookies into and below, and carry it obviously with one hand. You don't need extra plates, and it's made for right-handed and left-handed people. Okay? So this is silly, okay? And you can just poetic license that you can make up things. If you think, well, actually, how are we going to make money out of that? Well, perhaps here we might be able to put some advertising, or, you know, have poetic license to doing this. It is just a process. We're going to give you about 10 minutes to work through the 4 R's, assessing the product on each one, and then once you've done that, I'm going to just go around and we're going to discuss it, and then we're going to do a vote on whether it's a good or a bad product. Is that okay? So, given that I'm the only person in the room right now, can you guys help organise yourself into perhaps groups of about 5, if that's okay? Yeah? What product have you been assessing?
Trunky.
Trunky, okay? And tell me, is it a good idea, business idea,
I think it's a good idea because kids will like it.
Right, so you've got users, so that ticks that box, right? Solves a real problem, yeah?
I'd say so.
Okay.
Well, I think it's something for to keep the kids occupied, and when they get tired of walking, they can sit or ride on it. It doesn't show here, but does it have a handle? Like for the parents?
It's got a pulley handle, yeah.
Yeah.
So you can pull
the
them
parent
along,
can
yeah.
pull the kid when they get tired, and the kid can pull it themselves.
What else, what would make it, we've got a market there, but what else makes it a good business idea?
It's a good business idea. I think I guess you can sell it as a kind of heavy kids as well. So you get they pack their own pieces. It's practical.
How are we going to make money from it? How much do you think it will cost to manufacture? Roughly. Guess. Do you think it'd be cheap to manufacture?
I think it'd be quite cheap, yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah.
And it's got to be like regulated, like kind of materials you use for kids stuff and all that. That would be quite
It's
stringent.
quite an intricate product,
Yeah.
isn't it, actually? Yeah. And how much do you think you would sell it for then?
I think it'd be quite expensive. I think it'd be about £40 at least.
So, do you think there'd be much money to be made in it then? If that was the case, if it's quite expensive to manufacture, then you're going to have to sell it for quite a high price.
I think again.
So you're going to kind of narrow your market down there a little bit?
I think your main market would be like if people are going holidays and basically kids want to kind of have like their own kind of luggage thing with it, and you kind of like yeah, that kind of the market for it. Again, I think it would cost more money to sell as well. To be honest, but again, the way I see it, I would say it's a kind of storage thing rather than anything. You take it out when you're going on
So it's
holiday.
something you would use more often than
I
just
think
once.
maybe
So
like-
people might pay the premium price for it.
bit of quirky show up, it's probably for quite an upper class market.
Yeah.
There's-
Like strawberry
that's the
stewards
thing,
and things like that.
It isn't a necessity product. It is that kind of luxury
Okay.
thing. It's a luxury item. Not everyone is going to want it anyway, so we're not going to market it to everyone
Yeah.
in the first place.
But we need to check that there's a big enough market demand for it, yeah?
The problem is as well, like if it was just like for the kids, like for a few years, like once they get to 6 or 7 or whatever, they might grow out of it. So then later on, instead of something maybe buying, if it's really good product as well and it's really durable, then maybe like they pass it on to somebody else, the next kid down, so you're not getting those sales from like
Yeah.
the next kid. You know what I mean?
So there might be other opportunities for related products though, so that might make it a good business idea if you build a brand around.
Could make it like,
Yeah.
good characters on it, Tom's Tank and stuff like that. And that was people was, but I thought pedal pig and all that kind of little that kind of pig thing. Funky. So yeah, so yeah, like making
So
it.
there's quite a lot really involved in working out whether it is a good business idea. We'll move on to the next one. So this group here, what was your product?
We chose the cup and cookies mug.
Yeah.
We
Good business idea?
we think overall, generally, yeah, not too bad because the problem, it saves the customer from carrying a cumbersome packet of biscuits or a plate with them.
As long as they only want 3, that might be the issue.
Yeah,
They want more.
well, apart from that, it seems to be a decent idea. The only one problem that seems to be upset is chocolate biscuits at the bottom. If you've got a hot product like coffee or whatever, and then you put the chocolate all the way around. I haven't done this experience myself with my own one. It doesn't really go that
You've
way.
got one, yeah.
Yeah, I've got Homer Simpson one.
So who would be the market here? Have you thought about who would be buying it?
We thought people who are disabled, perhaps with reduced mobility, who don't like carrying so many things, elderly people, even just lazy people like ourselves who don't want to have to carry a plate about.
Okay.
Overall, we think the product would be fairly priced between £5 and £8 somewhere.
And it would be quite cheap to manufacture, do you think?
Fairly, it'll be a bit more expensive than the average mug because of the unusual
Exactly.
shape. But,
Different designs, yeah.
yeah, I mean, people are doing it already, so
Yeah.
there must be some kind of
Doesn't
niche
always mean they're
popularity.
making money out of it,
Yeah.
honestly.
And again, the route for the market, selling it to old people, disabled people, lazy people, and idiots.
Okay.
Also, we think that places like cafes and even some restaurants may be interested in such a product, just as a talking point for customers. To
They need to put
make
their own branding and things on.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, how many mugs do people wouldn't have? Like I remember when mugs used to be given out with Easter eggs when I was a kid or something. Like Mars Easter eggs, like half the mugs in my house are from Easter eggs when I was a kid. So.
Yeah.
But in terms of competition, other mugs and ceramics are the competition as well as sauces, because I'm pretty sure the saucer industry will not be happy. I'm pretty sure they're going to be.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Well, in terms of things that go in it, you've got to remember that this goes with teas, coffees, and also lime sip and things like that. Having suffered from a cold myself over the past few days, I'm in a month and I could have done with a wee biscuit here or there. So
Put your tissues in there maybe at the end as well. Okay, thank you. Next group. Is this a separate group here? 3, yeah? What was your product?
Chunky.
Chunky, yeah. Good idea? Bad idea?
Yeah, well, I mean, on the whole, I think it's a business idea.
Good business idea,
It's a
yeah?
good business idea. Like, there is a market for it. Yeah, maybe it is a launch date, as the same. I mean, we can't disagree. We thought maybe it was cheaper to make actually. If it was here, I maybe would make more of a decision, but just to look at it, I mean, it doesn't exist that much to it. It's plastic and it's hot ones that you can, so I don't know if it would be that much to make. And I think you could sell it for kind of, I don't know, I don't know if you maybe need to sell it as much as £40. I think you could sell it for around about the same price that you'd be able to buy regular handle beach, but you would just place it in different places, such as, I don't know, the toy stores or the other linen centre or something like that. What else do we need to talk about?
Yeah.
Obviously, people are going to buy it are mainly families, I'd say, obviously, because it's for children.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily need to be parents, it can be grandparents buying a present.
Yeah, exactly. Good point.
Also, another idea, it doesn't need to be just for travelling, like it could just be for if you're going to your friend's house, you want to take your toys, so you stick it all in, so I don't know, you could, it's a good idea, but yeah, again, it has a luxury, it's kind of really...
I think that's a really good point made here, though, and I know we're just focusing on these new products and things, but the fact is that just because your customers aren't always the users, just always remember it. And you know, the fact that you've said it's not just parents that are buying these, it's grandparents as gifts as well. The people are buying things and using things for different reasons. So always remember that when you're assessing your own ideas. So that was great. Next group up here, this long group along here. What was your product?
The Nana Guard.
Yeah, great. Good business idea.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, okay. you're nodding your head furiously, it really is. Okay, tell me why.
Well, obviously because it protects the banana, you know. You don't want to get to you wherever you go with your banana.
Yeah.
Protect the cooking, so
So, do you think all people that eat bananas would think that?
Well, that's a generalist, but I don't know. But it's got
Okay.
that.
So, potentially, there might be a market for it. What about costing and things?
I imagine it's really easy to make, and once you make one of them from a mold, you can sell millions of them to the likes of people, I don't know, sports enthusiasts and whatnot.
Yeah.
You can maybe piggyback a brand onto like Lucasade or something like
Okay,
that.
so your market isn't necessarily just the direct customer that's going to
Yeah.
use it. There might be some branding in there. Yeah.
You can sell it in a sports shop or something like that, you know, and just put somebody else's logo on it.
Good.
So I think we could.
Great. Okay, next group up here. This row here. What's your product?
We had the cup.
The cupping. Yep. Okay. Tell me. Good idea. Bad idea. What do you think?
Shocking.
What's that? Shocking. Shocking. Why?
Well, it's like, there's like a group in there, and you tell like you get that chocolate biscuit or something in milk, like you had it in the meat. And also you have to make a right hand, left handed one. So you're right handed, like that which you
So perhaps it would be higher manufacturing costs
Yeah.
because of that. So it might make it more expensive to make. Yeah. Okay. Routes to market though, have you thought of any potential customers? Just because you don't like it doesn't mean there's not a market out there. Who would be the market if there was one?
Pensioners, probably people who shop in the gadget stores and maybe shop online for novelty gifts. We've got collectors, non-collectors, maybe like that.
Novelty gift market's huge, massive. You know, so again, it's looking at the risks. Would be looking at the competition and seeing what else is out there and seeing if there's something similar, and you might have a market for it. Okay, we'll move on. I'm moving on quickly because we've got too much time. Who's the next lot up?
We chose the Captain Cookies mug as well.
Yeah.
We had the lovely chocolate biscuits idea as well, and we kind of thought like it doesn't really matter if you have a left or a right handy version, because in that picture, if you're holding it with your left hand, you can dunk the biscuits, but if you go to drink it, the biscuits will fall out. But Cal said that he likes to dunk before he drinks. That's obviously. I mean, maybe you want a mid dunk, drink or something like that. You'd have to switch hands and drink it the other way.
Okay, so you need instructions with this then to say how to.
We thought like revenue would probably go towards the pensioners as well, people that have like a walking stick or something like that can't carry a plate and a mug. We maybe thought a plastic version for kids, or maybe not just a plastic version, but like maybe with a face on it or something like that, and the biscuits could be in the mouth. Then we thought like kids don't really drink coffee or tea. Maybe it could be more towards hot chocolate, but you don't really dunk things in hot chocolate. But maybe it could start a new trend.
Bring the dunking back, kids these days just don't live it up anymore, do they? They just don't know.
So then we had the whole novelty thing as well. You go on the iwantOneOfThose.com, pointless stuff that's on that. But we also thought it doesn't just have to be for tea and coffee, and it doesn't just have to be for biscuits. It could be endorsed by Cup of Soup with bread in the little compartment.
Brilliant. Very good good idea.
croutons into like
Yeah, like it.
And it would need a good marketing name because I don't think Cup and Cookie mug is very, it doesn't really roll off the tongue very well. I can't think of any names off the top of my head, but we thought Delightful, was it? Delightful because it's in the shape of a D.
Okay,
Front
yeah.
was actually-
I'm thinking
well,
donkey is good, like you've got the trunky and then the donkey. That's the,
Donkey, yeah,
you could even twin them together.
We thought maybe we could sell it in like coffee shops, Starbucks, biscuit brands can maybe endorse it, like Big Vinny's if you buy a certain format.
Really good point there to all of you, biscuit brands, it's not always
Yeah,
about
sell
a direct
boxes,
customer. Yeah.
And then the only competition we was other cups and plates. So, that's really all we thought of that.
Good. No, that's excellent. This group here, what's your product?
We were doing the shake cake cup and cookies mug as well.
Okay.
We
So
wanted to
I'm
do that,
taking
but-
it you don't think it's a good business
No,
idea?
well, actually, obviously everybody's recognised the flaws, the melted biscuits, correctly identified large amount of biscuit debris, usually over the sauce, which was to be increased through this. But we think overall it's a good idea because it appeals to head down your tea and coffee connoisseurs and biscuit enthusiasts alike, as well as obviously the full novelty market. So we think, despite the small flaws, there's a big enough
It's a
demand
big
for it.
market.
As
Yeah.
well as that, we actually thought it could be priced a bit cheaper. We thought it could be somewhere from £2 to £5, depending on if it was just like in a plain white mug. You could probably get a lot of just passing customers, not necessarily for like enthusiasts of tea and coffee, but just kind of general thing. If it was not that cheap, people would probably buy it.
Yeah.
It's nothing that's really not.
Anything around market trends around the cooking?
Well, we figured that pretty much people are always going to be breaking mugs and want more mugs and more mugs and more mugs and more mugs, so that's not really going to change anytime soon, we didn't think.
Right.
So,
Is there any market trends, do you think, at the moment, if you think about the mugs that are on the market just now, what are they like?
Well, I myself am not a tea and coffee connoisseur, so I'm not really that informed, but I don't know.
A lot of them have got these branding, we were talking about this through there, keep calm and carry on, this kind of branding of stuff is everywhere, and any product that would take that is potentially... Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Big company promotion, like Kit Kat does them.
Yeah.
Or you can get other other big companies to endorse it, or even during holidays like Christmas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can get Christmas mugs with a week of Santa on it and keep your
I'm working with a company just now that they're called the Happy Scientists, and they actually sell corporate gifts to the drugs companies for their little quirky gifts that scientists use in the laboratory space, that rather than the drugs companies buying pens, etc., to give out with their logo and their branding on, he comes up with these little quirky gifts, as I say, that they can actually, scientists can use to make their day easier for them. And actually, rather than selling direct into the laboratories, he's going to the drug companies. So it's a really good business model to look at. So don't always, as I say, think about the user buying the gift. So I think the last group up here.
The banana bars.
Yeah, great. Good business idea or a bad one?
Well, good because a lot of people have fruit bananas, so I've got one with me today that's actually held up pretty well.
Right.
We're not sure if it's really a necessity, but plus, like, there's differently shaped bananas, so this banana card can fit every banana, or you can, there's issues right from the office, I think, to be honest. I'm not sure if everyone's going to want to buy it as well, so we're thinking maybe we could collaborate with fruit suppliers and make you buy a bunch of 5 bananas, you get a free banana card. And then,
Yeah. So exactly the model we were just talking about just now, yeah?
Yeah, or maybe in schools as well, like we could have it like part of the 5-a-day thing that they can make and bring it into schools and give every kid a free banana card. And then,
Any risks associated with it?
Well, not really, just because it was probably going to be produced for pennies, so...
What about if somebody was to copy the idea? So maybe you want to look at, see if you could protect the idea, protect the product, yeah, in any way? Which again, with you guys, would be using simple products, but always look at whatever you're doing and get in touch with us. Say through us, you can talk to IP attorneys and work out if there is anything that you can protect your idea with. We've got a company I'm working with just now that they have a fabulous idea, but unfortunately it's going to be quite hard to protect. So we're doing what we can there with it. They could patent it, but we're actually going to use design rights, because even with a patent, it still wouldn't be protected protected, and it would cost a lot of money to patent it. So I know I'm kind of talking a bit gobbledygook, but what I'm saying is just think about these things and go get the advice and things before you take something to market, so that you make sure you're protected. So I'm going to close up really quickly here. So just as I say, the thing, we use some really quirky weed products, etc., just to really show you the process that we use. The example I gave at the beginning, the cup of wine, I don't know if any of you have seen it, went onto the market, even though it went to the Dragon's Den, and they did not give it investment, okay? So they didn't buy into it being a good business idea, but it now is actually out on the market. So that's really what I want to finish up with, is to say to you that assess your ideas, but most importantly, just go and try them. As long as you don't take too much risk, just go there, try whatever it is, get people to support you on the way, and I just want you to kind of take that away and say, go do it, because lots of people actually get turned down by others along the way, and if they keep persevering, don't persevere against all the advice I would say, but equally, just get out there and try it and do it, and that's us. Okay?
Okay.